Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Barbie Talks. I am your girl, the Brown Barbie, your real and raw influencer, bringing you everything. Y'all already know on this channel, we give you a little bit of everything. So if you are on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And of course, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to follow this channel so you are able to get updated on every time, we drop some gems. This episode, last time, y'all, we was hype. I had a big eureka moment and I felt like I had to share that message with you guys. But today we're honing it in more and we're going to get a bit more serious and identifying some limiting beliefs, why these have formed. We're also going to introduce a book and introduce a small book club. And in this episode, I also will link that book. You'll learn more about it towards the end, but I will link that book so we all can follow along. So the question that is going to start us off today is your self-perception ruining your life? I think at times as humans, we can be so hard on ourselves to the extent that it's to our downfall. We have to understand that we are seeing life through our own lens, right? So we are judging ourselves so hard by the things we know we can do, the things we know we can't do. But then when you flip that lens outside, other people don't know that stuff. Other people don't know your struggles. Other people don't know the things that, you could be really good at this, but if you're keeping it to yourself, other people don't know that. They're only seeing how you're presenting yourself as well as seeing that potential. We also have to remember everyone can see your potential more than you can see your own potential. And I know that's such a hard concept to grasp. It's like, well, you just said they don't know everything. But as humans, we have this very keen, I guess you can say, sense of being able to tell what someone actually really is capable of doing by the little attributes. So if you come across someone that is very well spoken, you're immediately going to label them as this can be a leader, this could be a public speaker. If you come past someone that's very empathetic, this can be an amazing therapist, this can be an amazing leader for youth. So sometimes we dismiss those attributes in ourselves, those small attributes that just make up such a pivotal role in our life that will actually push us to those dreams that we want to accomplish. And it's important to really, I'm going to say this, emphasize this very, very hard. I know when we was younger, we used to hate when our parents say, watch your mouth, but no, this is truth. Once you reach a certain age, you have to understand what you say is very important. How you carry yourself is very important. So with those two things tied together, if you're just talking crazy, cursing a lot, or just speaking very ignorantly. Now let's remember, ignorant is not knowing, not how people are like, you're not knowing what you're talking about. You have to start speaking with intention. And when you start to speak with intention, you start to see your life flows with intention. And that's what a lot of people miss. A lot of people miss that intentionality. Yes, you can move intentionally, but are your actions moving intentionally aligned with how your conversations are, how you're speaking to yourself, how you just speak to the regular random person on the street? Are those two things aligning? And something that I found interesting, you guys know I'm on my self-improvement kick and empowerment kick, so I'm bringing you everything that I'm learning, giving it right back to you guys. One thing I found very interesting but made a lot of sense was the subconscious cannot take jokes. And it sounds so like, what do you mean? Like, what is even subconscious? What do you mean by it can't take jokes? The subconscious is a very, this is that, point blank period. No in-betweens, no questions, no. I want to formulate this in a very clear way. And one of the books I'm listening to, they said that your subconscious is actually the subjective one and your conscious is the objective one. And I found that to be very interesting because you would automatically want to flip it the other way, right? Of course, subconscious knows what's right and what's wrong, and it knows what's this and what's that. But no, your subconscious is formed by your own thoughts, how do you talk to yourself? How do you interact with people? The things that you've seen growing up, the little small habits you have picked up and wired in your mind that this is how life goes. Meanwhile, the conscious sees everything for as it is. It's that subconscious aspect that brings in that subjectivity with our everyday life. So now back to why the subconscious can't make jokes is because if you're saying, oh, I'm so broke. Oh, and I don't even say broke. So subconscious, please don't let that stick. If you're saying, I'm so broke, I can't afford that. I'll never get a new car. I can't afford that house. I can't this. Your subconscious is not understanding your bank account, right? So your subconscious can't see, oh, this is why she's saying this, or this circumstance is why. It's just taking, oh, this is that. She can't afford it. She will never get that house. They takes it at face value. That's the best way to explain the subconscious, that it takes it at very much face value. And every time I say this to people, I laugh because it's so funny and it's so like, girl, you're doing too much. But it is so important to be intentional with your words because what do we call when we spell a word out? Spelling. Words are spells. That's why it's called spelling. So I'm going to give that a second to let that resonate with you. Once again, words and phrases are spells. That's why it's called spelling. So with that being said, now you knowing that, are you going to constantly cast a spell over your life? I'm so broke. I can't afford it. I'm unable to be in a committed relationship. No, if you understood, if you had a genie or a wizard stand in front of you and say, every single thing that comes out your mouth is going to be true. Every single thing that you say is going to happen in your life. Are you going to continue to say those things? No. So at times as humans, I think we feel like we need someone to constantly hold ourselves accountable, but you have to be the one to hold yourself accountable. So like I said in the previous episode, it's in with you. It's all within inside you. This is your life. You help shape yourself. You help mold yourself, and you're the one that's going to get you to that end goal. If you constantly rely on that validation, the accountability of other people, and just people to put you to a certain level or things of that nature, you guys get what I'm saying. I'm trying not to rant on this topic too much. You will never be able to get to the spot you want because you are casting negative spells in your life. So an example that I have of this is very recently, if I call up one of my homegirls right now, they can agree. I don't say anything with God anymore. I don't say God D. I don't say anything like, I don't say anything like that. Because like I said in my episode 6, that God is us, living and moving in a Christian manner. We obviously want to get to that top place, which is God. So why would I ever speak in God's name in vain when he has so much power? And then also, if I'm supposed to be mirroring him, why would I speak in such just a low tone speaking about him? You wouldn't. And also, to close this little mini topic off, I seen a video today and I thought it was so in alignment. He said, I always talk to myself like, what the F? You messed this up. How could you do this? Why would you do this? He said, I talk to myself so negatively, but then I talk to my friends with grace. If I talk to my friends the way I talk to myself, I would have no friends. And I really took a seat back and I said, wow, that's so true. We just give ourselves such a pass with so much, and that can even be a big conversation on its own, but we just really are so mean to ourselves for no reason, and I'm a very big culprit of this. Like, I'm working on more positive self-talk, moving in a way where I'm proud of myself no matter what I do, and understanding this is my path, this is my life, and everything's not going to be perfect. Everything is not going to be my representation of perfect, but I don't need to be so rude to myself and so negative. And I've seen a tremendous shift in my life. And it's really just like, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. And it's true. If you cannot have a conversation with yourself out loud without it being just bringing yourself down, demeaning, just plain right rude, don't say it. Everything doesn't need to be said. Everything doesn't need to be addressed, and it can be addressed in a certain manner. So hopefully that resonated with you, and this will allow you to start to shift how you speak to yourself. And once we get a little bit later, we'll talk about some limiting beliefs. I'll tell you what limiting beliefs are and all of that fun stuff. But with limiting beliefs, it took me a while to understand this concept. It took me probably about a good year. Still understanding it to this day. I just had to take a pause because I hate to say this every episode, but Dylan James is who is really going to be an amazing start for your self-growth journey, for your self-empowerment journey, changing your life, changing how you view yourself, changing how you view the world. He breaks down limiting beliefs in such a clairvoyant way that it's no question, but, as humans, we like to be in denial. So how I like to think of limiting beliefs are things that we assign to ourselves in correlation to what we've experienced in life. So there's a few that I came up with just off the top of my head that I feel like a good amount of people, when I say a good amount of people, I'm not talking about a handful, like everyone in society almost can be labeled with one of these limiting beliefs. So a value-based limiting belief can be, I'm never picked. And you can see this, whether this is in the corporate world of jobs, relationships, education, family. An emotional-based belief can be, I find it hard to be positive. I always have to defend myself, and anger, sadness, or anxiety control me. A commitment-based limiting belief can be, men/women only like me for my body, and they don't enjoy learning more about me. And then the last one that can possibly be one is a confidence limiting belief. I'm not good at a lot of things. It's hard for me to be successful in many ventures. So now, as we broke down the limiting beliefs and some possible limiting beliefs, can you see how that's in direct correlation with how you speak to yourself? If you analyze how you speak to yourself in certain scenarios, certain situations, and just how you show up for yourself, it'll be, I'm not going to say very easy because it's not. It will be a little bit more apparent what your limiting beliefs are and what you need to work on. So how do you combat this? How do you combat the negative self-talk? How do you combat the negative beliefs? Obviously, speaking with intention will trickle into being more positive. And it sounds like such a, oh my God, everyone says this, be positive, be uplifting. But it's true. There's so many negative things we say throughout the day that we can turn into a positive. And I think when we confuse positive as just being happy-go-lucky 24/7, when no, it's not that. It's not being happy-go-lucky 24/7. It's being intentional. It is being mindful of how we are coming across. So even if you're having a tough day, you don't have to just go so hard and just be so negative. You just be like, today was a challenging day, but I persevered through this, and thank you for allowing this day to shape and mold me for whatever this day has helped me to deal with in the future. And by shifting and shuffling those words and putting it into a completely different tone, it changes how you view life so much. It's crazy. But some rebuttals to the limiting beliefs that I said was, with a value-based limiting belief, you can say, I'm valued and appreciated by men and women. And people are enamored by my aura, and they're dying to talk to me. And another one for a commitment-based belief can be, men and women see my value and my personality and enjoy learning more about me, and they know I'm a catch and they don't want to lose me. A rebuttal for any emotional-based limiting beliefs, I'm in control how I react to situations These don't define my characters. I cannot control people's perception of me and how they interact with me. I'm able to analyze the situation and then positively react. And lastly, a nice rebuttal / affirmation, because that's what these are also called as well, if you want to put it in more modern terms. I was given this skill or craft for a reason, and I live in the future success of this venture. And we see this shifting of simply sentences, and it can change your perspective. It can change so much about yourself. And I challenge anyone who's listening to this to try that. Just take one day. Take one day. If you think I'm just crazy, you think I'm just saying stuff and I don't understand what you're going through, I don't see the bad that you're going through, I don't know your trauma, take one day to try out this crazy theory. Every time you want to say something negative, reshuffle the words into either something positive or just a regular tone, an optimistic tone. And you will see how your day moves very differently. That's all I'm going to say. It moves completely different. And as you dive into shifting and shuffling those words into a different tone, you actually start to realize that your life is a mirror from within. So you start to see by doing those small shifts and those shifts occurring in their perspective, your perspective, as well as how you're interacting with people, you see people start to react to you different. You see scenarios may start to work out for you more. You start to see more clarity in situations, and it's like, whoa, it was kind of this simple the whole time. And I don't want to say it was, but once again, going back to that main topic of intentionality, being intentional changes a lot, and it will really put you in a different category than other people are in, that are just moving mindlessly in this world. And why does this always happen to me? I can't take my life. People don't value me. People don't respect me. I am not able to find fulfilling relationships. And it's just like, well, are you valuing yourself? And like I said, in episode 6, we won't dive into the value part of the conversation, but being very candid with yourself when you have these negative self-talks or when you're in those relationships. Is this how it is for me inside? It's crazy to me how people expect to have a loving and caring relationship and someone that does all of this for them. And it's like, you're not doing that for yourself. And it's so crazy because even when I say stuff like that, I'm like, dang, should I really have said that? That sounds really harsh. Like, that sounds really mean, but it's the truth. That's a part of the candid conversation you have to have with yourself of, is this contributing to the life I want to have? And we see, once you realize that life is a mirror within, you realize fear is just, it's not real. And like I said in episode 6, I'm going to be saying this forever because the energy reader really put me on with this one. Fear, false evidence appearing real. You're going to always want a confirmation of your theory. Oh, I'm never picked. So now when you're walking in a room, your head is down, you're not having your normal bubbly, personable attitude, you have this look on your face where people don't even want to interact with you because you've made this limiting belief so solid in your head, it is now correlating to your outside, which is now confirming your fear, confirming what you're saying in your head to be true. So, and that's obviously not too much of a fear, like, oh, if I feel like I'm not picked, I'm not fearful of people talking to me. I want people to talk to me. But once again, you have to look on the bigger scope. Why do you have that? Why do you have that limiting belief? Where did this stem from? Did this stem from fear? Did this stem from abandonment? Did this stem from you not feeling loved or valued? Which, once again, the base root of that is fear. So it's a lot of these very remedial, super basic and elementary school terms that are being used. It's like, oh, of course, or no, it's not that easy, but it is that simple. The hardest part is overcoming. I take a moment with this one. The hardest part is overcoming that reality that this is how my life is. This is how my life was shaped, and these are the hurdles I have to go through in order to see that sunshine and to fight those inner demons, to really kind of go back to those traumas and identify this is why I moved the way I do. So it's a tough process, but the baseline of it isn't the hard part. So understand, like I will always say, be very patient with yourself throughout this time. Be very gentle and just move with intentionality. And this will allow you to be able to take this journey a bit more with ease. So we are reaching the midway point of this episode, and you already know we have our TNT question of the day. Tell the truth. Question is, there's no justification why something can't work in my favor. So why do I make it harder for me? And I think understanding there's a difference between circumstance and reality. And it can be really jumpy because people have very unfortunate situations and very undesirable situations. But understanding circumstances can be changed. It's not forever. It is not you are signed to this for the rest of your life. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of work that you have to do, research, etc., whatever, depending on your situation, but it's not like it can't be done. It's not like it is impossible. The word is impossible literally says I'm possible. So it's just the mindset shift, honestly. And with me personally, I know I really just had to get out of this, like, you want to nitpick and find every reason why something can't work out for you. Why? Why? Like, why do you think that this cannot happen to you? Why do you think that this is something that wouldn't work for you? And like I said previously, I had a really big limiting belief that I'm not lucky. Good things don't happen to me. Opportunities don't come my way, or I have to work 10 times harder. And that's just not the reality. And we won't get into the obvious oppression, the disparities, and the injustices. That's a completely different conversation. But in terms of shifting that perspective with yourself, and once you shift it, now you're going to immediately go into those opportunities with a different mindset. You're going to walk into those rooms with a different aura. You are going to see people in a different way, which then they're going to receive you in a different way. So understanding that circumstances and these limiting beliefs and these negative things that we kind of stuff our brain with and be so hard on ourselves with and are constantly trying to be a perfectionist and make sure everything goes our way, they're really not helping you get to the point you want to get to, as well as they're not real. There's a lot of insane stories of people making a lot of something out of nothing. You are not the only one going through your situation. You are not alone with how you feel. Just also want to affirm that you are loved, you are valued, you are seen, you are heard, you are important in this world, and just keep pushing for your dreams, keep going, and just don't stop. Whatever you do, don't stop. You are always closer to your dream than when you started. It don't matter the noise. It don't matter what's near you. It don't matter who's around you saying anything. You are always going to be closer to your dreams than when you started. So continue to do that. Continue to persevere. Be intentional with your actions. And shift your self-talk within yourself to a positive one. And you'll see a completely different change. So as we wrap up this episode, as I said before, I'm going to introduce a small book club, completely voluntary. I wanted to give back to you guys in a way that you can follow along. And I want to, in a way where as I'm getting these eureka moments and I'm reading things that are very fulfilling to me, you are also kind of in that same path, and we can have these, you can listen, you're like, oh, I just read that chapter, so I'm getting what she says, or you can hear a chapter like, I really want to read that book, and you have access to it. So any links that I posted a link for a YouTube playlist that has a bunch of Neville Goddard books, as well as The Power of the Subconscious Mind, and that's the one I'm currently listening to in the gym right now. And the book we will be talking about is Healing Trauma. And this book really relates to me because this is very psychology based. So this kind of brought me into paying attention way more into class and able to basically put everything that I'm learning in class in this book together and give it to you guys. So as I said before, this process is not going to be easy with purging yourself and being very candid about your situation and shifting your mindset. It's not going to be an easy process, and it's not going to take a month. For some people, it takes a little over a year. Some people, it takes almost 5 years. Some people, it takes 2 months. It depends on who you are, how determined you are in this, and how emotionally regulated you are. So with emotional regulation, in Healing Trauma, we dive deeper into learning more about how our systems inside of our body, specifically our nervous systems, function in terms of with our body to actually produce our emotions and produce how we act in the day-to-day world. So I'm going to be going on page 16 because this directly aligns with our conversation of limiting beliefs, and this can give you some insight about where limiting belief can come from, or if you discover a limiting belief, where this possibly can stem from. So in this book, it says, the 5 adaptive survival styles are set in motion depending on how well the 5 biological-based core needs are met or not met in early life. These adaptive strategies or survival styles are ways of coping with the disconnection, dysregulation, disorganization, and isolation that a child experiences when core needs are not met. Each of the 5 adaptive survival styles are named for the core needs and or missing compromised core capacities. The connection survival style, the autonomous survival style, the trust survival style, the autonomy survival style, and the love and sexuality survival style. With the connection survival style, the core difficulties are disconnected from physical and emotional self and difficulty relating to others. The autonomous style is difficulty knowing what we need, feeling our needs to not be deserved or met. The trust survival, feeling we cannot depend on anyone but ourselves, feeling like we always have to be in control. The autonomy survival style, feeling burdened and pressured, difficulty setting limits and saying no directly. And lastly, the love sexuality survival style, difficulty integrating heart and sexuality, self-esteem based on looks and performance. And the development of these core capacities are from our core needs, your caregivers, and the capacity for connections. So with that being said, we won't dive too deep into the actual book and the reasonings they give behind that, but I wanted to give insight that these aren't left field things. These limiting beliefs that you have formed, you have gained, have 9 out of 10 times come from one of those 5 survival styles. And we all have ways of coping, air quotes, surviving. So this book really dives deep into each of those styles and explains it in a very clairvoyant way and makes you go, oh, I wasn't valued as a kid. I didn't get that affirmation as a kid. I didn't get that love as a kid. And now this is translating in my relationships. Now this is translating on my confidence with my schoolwork. This is translating on my confidence with my own ventures. This is translating on how I even treat people. So understanding that it is bigger than you. Nothing you're going through is too crazy left field. Nothing you're going through is something that can't be helped or solved to an extent. And I think that book will really open a lot of people's eyes to understand that, okay, I'm not crazy. I think a lot of times we could think we're the only person going through something, so we're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to say anything, or I got to go through this alone. I got to do this alone. So this book really helps zone you in and seeing that these are research-based, real psychological things, how it's affecting even how you're moving in your day-to-day life, how this is affecting your nervous system, things of that nature. So hopefully you guys will join me in reading that, but I will be breaking that down in probably about 1 to 2 pod episodes in this exact excerpt that I read. So I will be going deeper into the survival styles and how that is contributing to your limiting beliefs, your self-talk, how you view yourself, etc., all of that. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Biggest thing to take from this: have pride in your words. Have pride in how you talk, walk, act. You are you. There is nobody else in this world like you. You are valued. You are loved. You are gorgeous. You are handsome. You are going to do amazing things in this world. Nothing is the limit. You can do whatever you please. And since it's the last day of Black History Month, happy Black History Month. I hope you guys had an amazing time. Every day is Black History Month, but we'll just say it for this time. I hope you guys had a great month. Once again, if you are listening on YouTube, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Please hit the subscribe button. And like I said, if you don't want to subscribe, just go to the playlist and you can see all of the audiobooks. I will be updating that regularly. So there's a full public playlist of amazing audiobooks you can listen to at your discretion. And of course, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, do not forget to follow this channel so you can hear every time we update. We will have some guests coming in soon. If you're on YouTube, you see we have a new area. So it's going to be super fun playing with this area, playing with the angles, getting more people, hearing more opinions. So once again, thank you guys so much for listening, and bye.